Stop what you're thinking about the Stone Age. We've all been fed the same lie, that before modern hospitals, humans were just helpless, groveling creatures, dying from a scraped knee and gnawing on bark to survive. We picture them as clumsy, uneducated, and, above all, doomed. But what if I told you the history books are wrong? What if I told you that 45,000 years ago, long before the Greeks, long before the Egyptians, even before the invention of the wheel, your ancestors were performing surgery, and not just getting lucky, they were doing it successfully, repeatedly, and with a level of expertise that would make a modern surgeon sweat. This is the untold story of the first doctors, and the evidence isn't in a textbook, it's in their bones. Let's start with the most terrifying medical procedure in history. Trepanation. Imagine being a hunter-gatherer sitting on the dirt while someone takes a sharp stone tool and drills a hole directly into your skull. Today, that sounds like a death sentence. But archaeologists have dug up thousands of these skulls across the globe. And here's the kicker. They healed. We aren't talking about a clean surgical cut. We're talking about massive, jagged holes with perfectly smooth over edges of bone. That smooth edge is the telltale sign of a survivor. These people didn't just survive the surgery, they lived for years, sometimes decades afterward. Some skulls show multiple surgeries. They weren't hacking at people in a panic. They were performing precision medicine, understanding exactly where the major blood vessels were, and keeping the patient alive. But it's not just the gory stuff, it's the care. In the animal kingdom, a broken leg is a death sentence. You can't outrun a predator, you can't eat. You die, period. But when we look at skeletons from 45,000 years ago, like the famous Shanidar one, we don't see bones fused in a mess. We see them perfectly set, straight, immobilized with splints made of wood and leather. Why does this matter? Because someone had to carry that person. Someone had to feed them. Someone had to protect them day after day for months with zero immediate benefit to themselves. Anthropologists call this the broken femur test. A healed bone is the oldest, most powerful evidence of human compassion ever found. It's the moment we stopped being just animals and started being a society. Now, let's talk about how they survived the day-to-day. No antibiotics? No problem. They used yarrow to stop bleeding. They used honey, which, as it turns out, is a literal super antiseptic that creates its own hydrogen peroxide. And then there's the one that makes people uncomfortable, maggot therapy. Ancient cultures realized that specific fly larvae would eat away dead, infected tissue while leaving the healthy flesh perfectly untouched. It's a technique so brilliant that high-end hospitals in the US still use it today. They weren't primitive, they were running a 50,000-year-long, high-stakes science experiment. Finally, if you think you hate going to the dentist, consider the site of Mehrgarh in Pakistan. 9,000 years ago, someone was taking a bow drill, the same tool they used to start fires, and boring into the molars of patients to relieve the agonizing pain of decay. They did this with such surgical precision that they didn't shatter the tooth. They were the world's first dentists, operating before the invention of pottery or writing. So, who were these people? They weren't mystics. They were specialists. They were the steady-handed, the herb experts, the ones who passed down knowledge through an endless, brutal, but effective chain of apprenticeships. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have a pharmacy. What they had was the absolute, relentless human drive to ensure that if a member of the tribe was hurt, they wouldn't just be left behind. The next time you take a pill or get stitches, remember that instinct, the refusal to accept death as the default outcome, is the oldest thing about us. It's not a product of civilization. It is the reason we became civilized. If you found this helpful, please hit the follow button and subscribe to the channel for more.